So I'm going to do this as a two-parter. This is going to be a two-parter regarding Vice President Harris. On the one hand, I do think she is going to be formidable. And the reason I believe that is because I do think that there are certain things that as a candidate, she can exploit against Trump. Now, Kamala obviously has her flaws, but the one thing that she has, comparatively speaking, to Hillary Clinton in terms of being a politician. I don't know Kamala personally. I've heard mixed stories regarding how she is as a person behind the scenes. The stories I've heard regarding Hillary Clinton is nothing but negative. But in this case, I think Kamala is very. She presents well on camera. I think that matters. Unfortunately, we're such a vapid culture that that's the type of stuff that people think about. But she did make her a formal press introduction earlier today, and this is what she had to say.
So in the days and weeks ahead, I, together with you, will do everything in my power to unite our Democratic Party, to unite our nation, and to win this election. You know, as many of you know, before I was elected as vice president, before I was elected as United States Senator, I was the elected Attorney General, as I've mentioned, of California, and before that I was a courtroom prosecutor. In those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds.
Now, before she even has an opportunity to respond and to say anything, you know, these little jabs here and there, they actually work. Again, this is the whole thing about being TV presentable. Now, we've all seen her history as a candidate. It hasn't been strong. That's being nice. But I think she's kind of in her element when she's going after somebody like Trump.
Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
See, now granted, that's obviously being done in front of a crowd of, you know, true bluers and all that, and I get that. But the one thing I've always tried to be when it comes to politics is objective, is to not get too caught up. We are in the system we're in. That's reality. What we have to do is always be objective. And this introduction was strong. It just was. And the way that she's delivering the message is a message that is going to resonate. It just will. It's going to resonate. And there's a lot of women that are inspired. There's a lot of younger people that are inspired because she is younger. You know, she's basically Gen X. I think she technically is like off Gen X by a couple of months or something. So it's like really close. And we'll see what happens. But I'm going to get to that, Travers. I would say for an opening salvo, this is definitely probably as good as what you could have hoped for. But it was kind of tailor-made for it. I actually like the setup. It was actually done not too provocatively. She actually looks good with the two American flags flanking her in the background. Now, as I said, this is just smoke and mirrors. This is just presentation. This isn't policy. And this is the thing that is going to hurt the Democrats in a significant way. Because the thing that people are missing here is, and again, I know I say again for once in a while. I know Mario likes to point that out. But the one thing that I will say that cannot be ignored, and this has to be addressed, this was not something that just came out of nowhere. This wasn't an organic growth spurt for Kamala Harris. This was something that had been in the works for quite some time. And it just so happened that over the last 24 to 48 hours, a lot of this was being determined, and it happened so quickly. Now, I'm not going to get into any conspiracy theories about what really happened with President Biden or where he is right now. I just know that they were looking for an off-ramp because the numbers were saying without question that Joe was going to lose to Trump, and I believe he would have without question. Now, do I think that Kamala's going to win? No. I know there's a lot of people who think that all of a sudden, she's now in the driver's seat and she's going to win. I don't agree. I think she's going to see a bump. I think the Democrats will definitely see a bump over the next, few days. I think that's definitely going to happen. Trump has apparently come out and said that he will not debate her. Probably not a bad move on his part. He could probably only go down from there. He feels he's sitting in a comfortable position, and maybe so. But here is what's being missed right now by a lot of people. I understand, and again, this is the Democratic Party at its finest. They always circle the wagons. They need the leader, if you will, to tell them what they need to do, who they should be supporting. They cannot go on even a half a minute without there being some type of direction at the top telling them that this is what we're doing. I am not under any, I am not downplaying in any way, because I do think that she could win. I'm not saying that she can't. I am under no illusion that there isn't a big chunk of the population that would like to see a Madam President, that they wouldn't mind obviously seeing a Madam President of color. There's a lot of variables that one has to take into consideration, that people are just going to vote for her because of that reason. Now, I think less of the Democratic vote will be tempted to go elsewhere than they otherwise would have if Joe was still there. But Kamala was still a part of this administration and very much has had a role in a lot of the policies, foreign and domestic, can't be denied. Now, she got off to a decent start today by refusing to meet with Netanyahu, and she will not preside over his address to Congress on Wednesday. That's good. Now, what are you going to do to end the genocide? What are you going to do regarding the climate? What are you going to do regarding the economy? What are you going to do regarding healthcare? What are you going to do regarding a living wage? What are you going to do regarding workers? There's a lot of things that she has not talked about. Again, this is all just the whole, she's a woman of color, and she's experienced, had a lot of roles, all that. Okay, that's nice. But again, that doesn't solve problems. And this economy is not working for the overwhelming majority of people. There are people that have benefited from this, and there are things that the Biden administration has done that has helped. The NLRB has improved. I will not deny that, but they broke a strike. They didn't pass the PRO Act. The Build Back Better did not have anywhere near the teeth it needed, and the infrastructure bill was mostly a corporate giveaway. There are some good things, again, like anything. But ultimately, she's, and she is Team Clinton. The Clintons have wanted Kamala forever. The meeting out in the Hamptons a number of years ago. And there is the other issue, which is her record, which for whatever reason, they just didn't want to go through. And there are other people that easily could have had an opportunity, potentially, to get the nomination. I think Governor Beshear of Kentucky may be the best overall option. You also have Governor Pritzker, who has done a fairly decent job, I must admit, in Illinois. Don't get me started on Governor Whitmer. Do not get me started on Governor Shapiro. And do not get me started on Governor Newsom.